start today's episode off with a loaded question. But in your heart of hearts, can you explain to me what's the purpose of horror? There has to be more reasons than showing a 13-year-old me the anatomy of a naked female body. Or is this just a tradition to have young lovers end up in each other's arms by the time the credits roll? I don't really know. But aside from financial gain, I want to know, why are these movies being made? And why do they resonate so much with their audiences? We all have different fears and life experiences, yet some films manage to tap into a base level fear that's palpable for every human. I've often heard the comparison of horror movies are like roller coasters, a way to face your fears in a controlled manner. But my curiosity goes deeper than that. Why do we enjoy these things? Why is there a need for a cathartic conduit in order to feel alive? It's as if we need a reminder that death, the proverbial sword that lingers above all of our heads, is always following us. That's what makes today's movie a perfect example to the point I'm making. That flick is David Robert Mitchell's 2015 horror thriller, It Follows. This movie was a breath of fresh air for the genre, and it really delivered a heavy gut punch of anxiety. We have a lot to discuss on this one, so we gotta keep it moving. Without any further introduction, here is our take on It Follows. Boom! Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion, Christian Ramey, and back again for another week, clapping them ass cheeks, the best producer in the whole goddamn world, Mr. Ozark Mark. How you living down there, buddy?
It's not easy being the best, but it's okay.
Somebody's got to do it.
As long as I'm around, you'll always be second best. Thank you very much for that wonderful intro. You always do a fantastic job on your intros. They are spot on. You are very good. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Wildcard edition episode of the one and only Sloppy Horror Podcast. And this is going to be a good one today. I love this Wildcard season. I love these standalones. It's been a very fun season. I liked all the movies that we've done, and I guarantee you, you're going to like this next one. It's a good movie. It's a great movie. So, Christian Ramey, why don't you do your otherly duties and tell us here, the folks, what are we talking about today?
First off, I do want to say I like the wild card season too. It was built organic. Usually, like, we put like a week into thinking of a season, a week or two. We plan it out, and we're like, we're doing this. We didn't really know what the hell we were doing this season, and we just kind of started, and it happened organically within an episode, I believe. It was like the second or third episode. We're just like, wild card season, and that's what it was, and it's really worked well. It's kind of cool because these movies, they fit in their own little spectrums. I don't think any of them have had sequels. Maybe they have, thinking back, but
if they have, I have not heard of them, and they're probably not worth it. So if you haven't heard of them,
they're just kind of like random one-offs. But today, we're talking about the movie It Follows from 2014. There's a lot of people. So, usually you and I like play around with movie titles and find a funny way to say them.
Yeah.
I imagine this like some like country guy telling somebody about a movie they watched. Hey man, my son last night, he made me watch a scary Shit Follows You. Shit Follows You, man. That's what it's called.
Shit follows you.
Yeah, man, that whole movie, shit's following him around. He can't, no matter.
It can't go away. It just keeps following you. No matter where you go, it just follows.
Shit follows you.
Shit follows you.
That one got me, and it's stuck in my brain.
Now it's stuck in mine.
Honestly, that's happened with I can't say people under the stairs. No, people under the stairs.
The people under the stairs.
Yeah, it's just fun to say.
Shit follows you. Absolutely. That's a good one. I like that.
Scary movie, man.
Scary movie.
So, Ozark, this was actually your recommendation, which I like, because I'm always, thinking of movies, trying to, think of whatever. I always feel like I'm throwing curveballs at you, and you're just like, all right, whatever. We can do whatever. But you said, no, we should do It Follows. I agree, man. A lot of people love this movie, and it's 9 years old now.
It is 9 years old, and I was thinking, because, of course, wildcard season, we don't have the movies picked out, so you usually text me like 2 days before the episode, like, I usually ask you what the hell the movie is because you usually don't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
But it just popped in my mind because I was trying to think of something that would fit well in this season, something that's a standalone horror movie. And this is the last one like I went out and discovered without your recommendation that I saw by myself. Because I remember I was at home one night and I was looking for a good scary movie to watch that I'd never seen before. And I think it's back when I had Netflix or whatever. So I looked on, top movies on Rotten Tomatoes. Because it's pretty credible. Rotten Tomatoes does usually a pretty good job at the ratings.
Yeah, now sometimes I feel like if a movie is rated really good or really bad, it's good in Rotten Tomatoes. Because sometimes they give you'll get a 12% on a movie and you're like, no, this is a great movie. But it's like if it's really high or really low, I like that standard from them.
I think, and I don't think I was looking for horror movies. I was just looking for, top 10 movies on Rotten Tomatoes for this month or whatever it was, whenever I looked at it. And this popped up as number 1. It Follows. And that's how I discovered it. And I watched it, and I was like, that was actually good.
It
was actually good. It's very, very odd. But before we talk about it any further, we have to do our synopsis of it, so you are on the same page that we are.
You gotta know about the movie, folks.
Yeah, you gotta know about the movie before we talk about the movie, or else when we talk about the movie, you won't know what we're talking about when we're talking about the movie.
You're gonna feel lost.
Lost.
You're not gonna know where you are. Okay, so here's the deal. Folks, well, actually before that, let's be quite honest with you, all right? Now, we need you folks. If you folks want to continue to enjoy this show without any plugs and manscaping products and energy drinks, I do encourage you to go check out our Patreon. This is where we put bonus content up, and this is a way you can support the show, help us keep the lights on around here. And it's like $3 a month, it's pretty cheap. So that's how you can help out Sloppy Horror. And, if anyone's asking, there you go. But you asked me about shit follows you? You want to know about shit follows you? Well, look here. I'll tell you about shit follows you. All right? This movie is a PSA about sex and what sex can do. This whole thing could be
a sexually transmitted disease.
Correct. This whole movie could be a metaphor for an STD. All right?
Could be.
So we have a main character. This girl's name is Jay. All right? Jay seems like a pretty normal, I think she's 19, normal girl. She goes on a date with a guy she's interested in. This guy fucks her. Well, after they're banging, she wakes up duct taped to a wheelchair, and he's like, yo, here's what's going to happen. I'm sorry, I'm not going to hurt you, but I've passed this on to you, and this thing is going to follow you no matter what. And he holds her there, and that's why he did it, so she would believe him, because it's obviously a crazy story. And then they see this naked ghost woman walking towards them. So from that point forward, he takes her to her house, and she's just terrorized. Throughout the whole movie, she's trying to escape this thing, and no matter where she goes, it finds her. This thing can. It's slow, but it's smart, and it can always find you. And you can drive. It'll buy you a little time, but it will always come find you. So, and what you have to do to pass it is bang somebody else. But if that person gets killed, then the thing's coming back to get you. Okay? So you're going to have to, do some bang-a-ranging.
Yep.
Now, Mark, this is a fun little story, but my brain analyzes this movie, and I think, how can you beat this situation? And I'm like, if you're like a rock star or like an NBA player, you probably win. You're traveling, you got 82 games a year, you're always traveling, and you're banging mad bitches, all right? That's their mindset. So, a young bachelor man, really rich, you're traveling all the time, or a rock star, you're just, banging groupies, and you could bang that, you could spread that ghost off to a bunch of other people.
And you're always on the go. You're flying to different cities. That thing better walk fast. I just went 3,000 miles.
It's smart, so it could probably hop a plane. I've thought about that too, just like constantly traveling. But the thing is smart. So it's slow, but it's smart. So it could easily hop on a transportation and get to you quicker. That's the thing. I've thought about going to an island. I'm like, how's it going to get to an island? But it probably doesn't need to breathe underwater, so it's just going to walk underwater to get to you. Hop on somebody's boat to get to you.
I would take my chances, though, because I feel like an aquatic creature could get it. Well, I guess they wouldn't see it.
No, dude, I would straight up try to destroy this thing some way. Like, first, I would obviously go the gun route first. They try the gun route.
Didn't work.
Doesn't work. Gets right back up. And then they tried other things. So you don't know. They don't know if you ultimately kill it or not. Spoiler, they don't know. Because there's an ending. We'll get into it later. But yeah, I don't know how you would beat that. You could keep fucking, and that'll buy you some more time. Or you could do what that guy did and try and bang somebody and do the same thing he did. Because once somebody knows about this and sees it, they're going to want to stay alive. So they're going to be stuck with it.
I feel like there's so many freaky ass people and so many ghost hunters and people like that there'd be a line of people trying to bang. So you could probably get yourself separated from this thing pretty quickly.
Probably.
You
but
know?
I would ultimately, I would just like the challenge of trying to kill it. Like I would try and just, I don't know, just burn it.
I would help these people, but I don't want to be prime suspect number one. I need a little breathing room because you can still see it.
Yeah.
Even like so, at that point, if I got to see this thing for the rest of my fucking life, just standing naked on rooftops and shit.
Dude, I would try everything. I would just try put as many bullets in it as I can. I would try trapping it and just scorching it, burning it.
Would you taunt it?
Yeah, at that point. Yeah, I would. I would. I don't know how. Like, I don't know. They never show you how to ultimately beat it, really. So there's different things.
Church?
Either that, or couldn't you just trap it into something? Like lock it?
Oh, like a cube? Like one of the 13 ghost cubes?
Yeah.
Right.
Or just trap, or I would build a hole, right? Build a hole, find some way to trap it in there, and then just pour concrete.
That's true.
You think, does it like, see, that's the thing, does it like reincarnate into is it like an ever living thing? We don't know. Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
We might need the Lord.
The Lord.
We need to find somebody that's got experience with these things. All right, and if you're gonna make a Shit Follows You Part 2, you're gonna need to find some old guy in the bayou.
Yeah, but
we
this
used to fight these things.
Not gonna lie, this movie does. If it's the first time you're seeing it, it will mess you up a little bit. Mm-hmm. It messed me up a little bit because I'm sitting here. It's like you'll never look at somebody walking towards you the same.
It's suspenseful.
It's very suspenseful and creepy. Like I remember watching after that, and you're like, it just makes you think of it's like if somebody's walking towards you slowly, you're like, fuck. Like it's a very normal, easily fear thing, kind of. If that makes it could happen. Like you see it everywhere you go. People are walking towards you all the time. So that's what kind of messes you up a little bit about it. Another thing that fascinated me about this movie is it leaves you confused, too. Not only does it make you uncomfortable and unsettled a little bit, but it leaves you confused. Do you know what time period that this movie takes place in?
Yeah, well, now. Well, that's actually what I was going to talk to you about.
Because you can't tell. Mm-hmm. What time period it's in, because it looks like they have like normal today's clothes, like maybe like 2000 something clothes.
I would say like 80s, 90s. I mean, some are modern, but like the dudes are like in jean jackets.
Yeah.
This is a trend that kind of started around 2014, and I would say this is one of the first horror movies to kind of start with the synth wave and adding back with the retro, and it's an awesome score.
And they do that, but the thing is, like they have modern cars, but they have old TVs, tube TVs with antennas.
But like modern crazy technology phones.
Yeah, and the one girl in their group of friends has this like shell double touchscreen thing. That's the only technology. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck? But they have flip phones. Mm-hmm. What time period is this? Also, what the fuck is the weather like? Because there's leaves on the trees. This girl is in a pool, but everybody's in hoodies.
I know.
And shit. Like, what is the temperature outside that you can go into a pool and then you walk outside and you're in hoodies? Like, I would not get into a pool outside, not a heated pool, mind you. It is like one of those cheap Walmart pools that you put up and then go outside and put a hoodie on.
That's Detroit things. That's what they do up there.
It's so confusing. It leaves you so confused. Like, the second time you watch it, you'll look at that and like,
there's a lot of ambiguity to it. And it leaves with a question mark, too. So you're like, there is a lot of that. Because, you wonder what year this thing is. And then there is no resolve. There's no, like, you don't see it like, oh, yeah, they got it down. There's no, like, usually in a horror movie, like, you find the guy or the person who was traumatized by this thing in the past that can give you the insight or the secrets on how to beat the thing. Okay, in whatever way that is. There is none of that. It's just, nah.
No, it just leaves.
This.
It just leaves. The last scene of the movie is the girl Jay and that little simpy dude that finally banged her eventually, which was the most awkward banging scene I've ever seen in a movie ever. But they're walking hand in hand down the sidewalk, right? And this is after they killed it. They shot it in the pool to where there's blood everywhere. So did they defeat it? Did it drown? Did they shoot it in the head enough? I don't know. But last shot of the movie is them walking down hand in hand, and in the background, blurred out, is somebody walking towards them. Now, is this a regular person walking towards them, or is that the entity coming to get them? You don't fucking know.
So it's what I would call the Alfred Hitchcock problem. And I like Alfred Hitchcock. I respect what he's done for the genre. But this, who's the director of this? Let's not insult the man. David Robert Mitchell, okay?
Motherfucker's got 3 first names.
Right. So he clearly is a fan of Hitchcock. And if you go back and watch, most of these scenes start off at a distance with a really wide lens and at a very slow Kubrick-like, Hitchcock-like pace, it will kind of come into frame. But then once it comes in, you won't see your corners, you don't see things, and it just builds suspense, the camera, the way it does, because it very much eliminates blind spots, and as the viewer, you're like, fuck, look, give me a 360 real quick, I want to see everything, and that's just classic filmmaking. And then on top of that, with that score, that is so pure, and they do a beautiful job at the score. It just builds, it almost Giallo-esque with a little synth wave to it. I mean, it's really an incredible score.
It feels like an old horror movie. But it's not as scary. It's like you said, the way it's filmed. Like, there's a lot of wide shots. There's a lot of long shots, like in The Shining, like her walking through the school or anything. It's like all long, continuous shots, and you got that in a bunch of old horror movies.
And I only like that when it's done correctly. Like, I really do, because say Ari Aster. He makes like 4-hour movies, bro, and it's like, no go. A 3-hour movie, that's a no go for me, Chief. And like, unless you make The Godfather. But if you can do this within the the constructs of an hour 45, I'll boogie with you, dog. Like, I like it in that. But yes, there's a lot. This whole movie is fucking foreboding, and one of the biggest mistakes that I think horror movies make, at the beginning of every horror movie, you need a little sample of what's to come. You need a little foreboding. And at the beginning of this movie, you just have a girl like running down the street, and then everybody's like, you all right? You need help? And then she just gets in her car, drives off, goes to the beach, makes a weird phone call, and then it's morning, and she looks like the picture that's behind Ozark Mark. She's dead. So you have no idea. I mean, the movie's called Shit Follows You, so you think that something followed her, so you kind of have like that down. You might have seen the trailer, but you have no idea. Like, you have no context of what happened, and then it just goes into the movie. That's how you need to do it in a horror movie, because if you built that element of fear right away, and I think if you just give a little bite, almost like a vampire biting you, you need a little bit of that venom working through your, coursing through your veins, because if not, and you just plan to do that 45 minutes into the movie, you might lose a lot of people.
No, dude, it's similar to... the movie's like a bag of Lay's potato chips, right? Mm-hmm. That first chip, that's the first chip. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10, if you have one Lay's potato chip, you want another Lay's potato chip. Okay? So they do that.
Nobody eats one.
And then
Nobody eats one.
Yeah, and then eventually they do a good job because then you understand why this girl's freaking out over nothing.
Yeah, and you know you're gonna get answers. Like you understand. You're like, okay, I want to know what the fuck happened there. Like I need to know. And I just think it's a classic mistake that some horror movies make. And it's like, okay, maybe if it's not in the first 5, you definitely need it within the first 20. I definitely need it in the first 20. Do you remember the Friday the 13th that came out in 2009? The more recent one that we are familiar with. Or we put some samples of that in our music at one point in time. But at the beginning of that movie, we're introduced to like 4 or 5 fucking characters. And I remember going to see this in the theaters. I mean, we were like 20, 21.
Somewhere around that. No, we were like, I was 18 in 2009.
18.
You were 19.
20.
You were 20.
Yeah. I just remember being so stoned, right? And sitting in the movie theaters, and like these 4 or 5 characters are introduced, and it's all played out, and they're killed, but it takes like 30 minutes. Like it's a full 30 minutes with these characters, and I was like, damn, that movie felt quick. And then it was the intro. I was like, what's going on? And there was like new characters. I was like, more like. And that was the only one that was okay because we know Jason is coming. But like if you're introducing something, I really do think you got to come out and get that crowd right away. You got to unsettle them. Let them know what kind of movie this is, because if it's a slasher, we want to see a little bit of blood spray. If it's some kind of paranormal shit, we want to see some ghosts or something, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. If it's a haunted house movie, I need to see a picture flip or eyes move. Give us a something. Let us know what's coming. And this movie crushed it at that. Did a great job.
Absolutely. You got a favorite part of this movie?
Let's think here. If I had a favorite part of this movie, I think I do like that. I would say the intro. I would say the whole intro with that. I thought that was a beautiful, like from a director's point, from a horror filmmaker's perspective, I thought that was a really awesome just intro to a movie. That would have me. Like if you were to sell me on a movie, if that's all they had and they were like, all right, and I had like $1 billion, they're like, we want you to invest. What do you think of this? I'd be like, I'm in, bro.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer. Good answer. What about you, Ozark? We polled 3,000 people, and we want to know, what's your favorite part of this movie?
Probably when the guy across the street's death, that whole scenario playing out. I forget what that. Greg, yeah, the kid in the jean jacket, black hair, he's older.
Mm-hmm. And his mom comes in with her titties out and gets him.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, so earlier he tries to come in and starts helping him, but he doesn't believe, her. So it's like, so she's in the hospital and he just goes in there and like bangs her.
But they had already banged before in their past.
Yeah.
So like it was a thing that they had already done, and it was more or less of like, look, he doesn't seem scared, and now like I almost need a companion, like I need a tag team partner. Okay, yep. You're the Marty Jannetty to my Shawn Michaels. Okay,
yeah. And the Simpy dude was pissed off, and they make sure of that through the whole movie.
Yeah, Simpy dude felt real cucked the whole movie. He was very upset.
If you want to know the definition of a simp, it's that character.
Yeah.
So what happens is, of course, a couple days go by and nothing happens to him, but it's at night and she's in her window, and then all of a sudden the thing, we'll just call it the thing, comes and it's gonna start getting to him. So I just love how it breaks windows all the time. It just always breaks people's windows.
Like a drunk guy, yeah, just like an old drunk man trying to break in your house. So, hey, you motherfucker!
So he gets in there, and of course goes up to his room, and it shapeshifts into his hot mom. So she's just banging at the door. Just constant knock, like.
I'm just saying, she fucks you to death, though. Like, I'm just saying, if you were to go out.
Well, no, we'll get to that in a second, but it always just cracks me up whenever he opens the door. He's like, "What the fuck, Mom?" And then she's just sitting there with one titty hang out in a robe and just lunges at him and then just, of course, bangs him to death. But I don't know. After seeing that girl on the beach and him like ghosting, it like sucks all the life out of you and you turn white and ghost. I don't think it's a pleasant fucking. Yeah, all right. I don't think so. I think like, imagine, like thorn bushes.
Yeah. Oh.
Imagine sticking your dick in there. I feel like that's what that thing's vagina feels like.
Just somebody's too much of a freak to understand this whole situation. Like you bang at the beginning, and then like you wake up duct taped to a chair. Like, oh shit, what's going on here? I'm not gonna hurt you. You can if you want. I won't tell. No, serious. There's some serious shit going on. Ooh. I bet there is, girl.
Don't break character.
Yeah, you got no. It's coming after. Who's coming? You're coming.
I'm not yet. You're not.
Ow! You're starting this off crazy. Why didn't you do this at the beginning? You just don't understand. You just end up getting killed.
Yeah. But another good part is their plan of they go to like the neighborhood pool that they used to grow up in. And they bring like all kinds of like toasters and hair dryers and TVs and all kinds of stuff to plug in. So they think the thing is going to go in the pool where Jay is, and they're going to electrocute it to death.
This pool is in the most ominous looking building, by the way, like fenced in. It's like the prison from The Walking Dead.
I know.
Like, what the fuck?
It looks abandoned, but yet the pool water is clear. So whoever the pool guy is there, hats off to you. But
yeah,
I just like how they thought that was going to work, and instantly it comes in. And it's smart, so it knows, and it just starts chucking shit at her.
Like fast.
Yeah.
Like quick.
Like a fucking Randy Johnson pitch. Like, just going right at her, and it fails. And then that whole thing is hilarious because then the Simpy dude, they bring a gun. So then he can't see it, though, because he hasn't been... So he's, like, trying to shoot randomly. And if you're a gun owner, that spot will make you nervous because... Wherever he's aiming the gun is their friends on the other side. Like,
yeah,
it's
dude.
a horrible, no gun safety or any rational shit is going there. You're trying to shoot an invisible thing, and like he ends up shooting one of his friends in the leg. Then they eventually had the smart idea of throwing a sheet over it so they could finally see it.
Scooby-Doo shit, dog.
Yeah, and then they finally got him. Allegedly, but I just thought she just kept getting drilled by appliances in a pool.
Could you imagine, though, it's like a bachelor, like if this happened to you, and you're just like, hey, you're just going to have to find a gang of freaky people and then just make sure that they bang and keep it going. Now, you're going to be busy for the next month because you're going to have to set up like 40 bangs, all right?
Well, that's the thing is, like, you can't waste them, though. You got to make sure.
Well, that's
once
what
the thing comes back, though. But think about that, dude.
Oh,
That's
no.
another thing.
I'm having a girl bang Batista. And then I'm having, like, Batista bang another wrestler girl. And then, like, I'm going, like, top of the food chain. Like, I want some crazy people in on this.
Well, I mean, the Simpy dude does go towards hookers. I think hookers would be the good way to go. Because they bang people all the fucking time.
Oh, that's a good point.
Just find hookers. I mean, you're gonna have a sexually transmitted disease, but you already have the worst sexually transmitted disease ever. So what the fuck's what's a little bumps on your shit gonna do? But that would probably be the route to go because they bang people all the time.
Your dick's haunted, bro.
Yeah, so that's gonna be probably your best scapegoat.
That's how I would have broke the news. Like, look, your pussy's haunted now. I'm sorry. I hate to break the news. But it's haunted, all right? And there's ghost people after that ass now because they think you're a sinner. They think we're sinners. You got a haunted giner. I'm sorry to break the news. I'm going to need you to pull it in. And we got to get real serious on how to get these ghosts up out your giner.
I love how some of the forms it takes are just like naked people.
I know, like... It's like
it makes no sense, like when they're leaving... to the pool, like the thing is up on the roof and it's just some old dude with a huge ass bush. Like this dude has been growing it for a fucking while, like 70s bush porn style. Just fucking, you can't even see his dick. It's just black. It's like a black hole.
Like he's putting product in it. Like he's...
It definitely has got caught in his zipper once or twice.
Ow.
Yes. Ow-ee.
Ow! That hurt me. That doesn't seem nice. Now, I guess it's better than having a haunted dick, though. That's scary, man. Like, what would you do? That's what this movie asks you. What would you do?
Oh, I know. Everybody has their own opinion on what they would do. And just adds to the eerie. So it's very unsettling because like you're constantly living. Just the thought of having to constantly look over your shoulder.
I think honestly though,
You'll never feel safe again, ever.
What if you could just pull the old fashioned though? Like I mean, before they had like tanks and airplanes and shit, they built castles, and there would be like they'd build it on a giant hill, and then like over this hill would be like a fucking. At the bottom would be like a moat, and then there would be like another hill, and then there would be like more defense, and like you could just make a thing like, 'cause if it can only walk, like how well can it climb? And if you got,
I think it can climb. It can climb well, obviously, like on top of a roof.
That's true.
It climbed through a window. It can climb. It just walks. But that's the thing. Yeah, it's just
you just need a slippery hill that it can't walk up. You're like at the top of like where Batman
like those
trains,
like those old slides. Like just have all. That's a good idea.
The Ministry of Defense. They like you remember that? Like in that big, just like
It's either that, just have a slippery ass hill all around your house, or obviously trap it. I think trapping it.
You can't get me.
Like just a giant hole in the ground, like that you can't climb up. I don't know.
We need to get Matthew Lillard from 13 Ghosts to be like, look, dog, how do you capture these ghosts? Help me, I don't need your help to capture a bunch for a house for profit, but this thing's going to kill me, and I need your help. How do I
all you got to do is lock it in somewhere. It can't get out.
And he'd touch you, and
I think that's the ultimate solution is lock it somewhere, like, a walk-in freezer or something, like, or get one of those Connex big storage boxes that you see on railroad yards. Just fucking lock it in there and pay some dude to take it out in the middle of the ocean and just drop it. Be locked in there forever. Hey, this is smart. This is smart thinking. We got to the bottom of it. But what we need to do is find out more things about this movie.
Let's do it.
Oh, wow. We Booze a Podcast. Welcome to the What Do You Know here. This is a segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie. It follows. Now, if this is your first time here and you followed us, let me tell you how it is going to go. We're going to tell you things we know about this movie. Now, you may know what we know, you may not what we know. But if you know what we know, you're going to have a we know-gasm. A reoccurring. If you don't know what we know, you better find out what we know, and then you're going to have a new we know-gasm, so then later you can have reoccurring we know-gasms with the reoccurring we know-gasms that have already happened that are reoccurring. So, now that you know that, I feel like going first this time. So, let me tell you something I may or may not know about this movie.
Blow my mind.
I will blow your mind. Like a leaf blower. So. Now, there are a couple characters' names in this movie that are nods to another horror movie that you might be familiar with, and they kind of have similarities. You remember Halloween? Of course you do. Don't answer that question. It's a rhetorical question. The first character in this movie, the girl in the beginning, the one that dies on the beach, her name's Annie.
Okay.
You remember Annie from Halloween?
Okay.
Girl that dies in the car, babysitter, black hair. Yeah, that's a little nod to her. Now, you might think, what's the other one? I'll tell you. The main character's name in It Follows, what's her name? Jay? Mm-hmm. You know what that's short for? Jamie. Oh, does that ring a bell to you? Miss Curtis, little nod to her, and a little bit of, homage to the great movie, which I think this is kind of, bursts us off from a little bit, with the following and stuff like that.
Yeah, leaves on the ambiguity.
One's just murder and one's, banging.
Yeah.
But, you gotta mix it up a little bit.
You bang, you die.
You bang, you die. That's correct.
That's just the rules.
Be careful who you have sex with there. Now, why don't you tell me something you may or may not know now?
So the fun part about this is this movie sticks to a recipe.
Sticky to me, baby.
And that's the thing with horror movies. granted, it's nice when things break the glass ceiling and make new tropes and things like that, but there's a simple recipe you could stick with. And generally, the color red is usually it's a tip that something bad's coming. It's a little foreshadow. Okay?
It's not really good because our studio is quite red.
Well, that's the point. We like that down here.
Yeah.
But this movie is no different. If you watch back, say if you haven't watched this movie already and you want to watch it after this episode, pay keen attention. Use your eyes. You got eyes in your head, but you don't see nothing if you ain't seeing this. You look for the color red.
Strawberries.
Strawberry. Anything that's fucking red.
Cherries.
Clothing. Anything. It means it's coming, baby.
Chili peppers.
It means shit's following you.
Yeah.
You got red? Shit's following you.
Have you ever seen a red banana?
Nah.
It's dangerous. Don't get them.
That sounds
now
crazy.
Now you know. The little small red bananas. It was funny. I'm sorry.
That sounds good, though.
That's a good fact, though.
Yeah,
I did not
good.
notice that. I have to. I feel like I gotta rewatch it to see when red's happening. I'm trying to think of it. Now that it makes sense.
I like
There's
those
so
facts.
much layers to this movie that you don't know, and now you know. And then you gotta watch this like 4 times to fucking get everything.
Yeah. Now, do you got any more facts?
No,
I don't think I do either, but I think these are facts people can be happy with.
I think so.
They're palpable. We
Bring
like
joy.
them.
What?
Palpable.
Palpable?
Yes.
Palpable.
Digestible.
Like a ring pop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go now.
Okay, see you later. Now, Mr. Ozark, Mark.
Yes. Hello.
You know what I found pretty funny? I was looking in on this movie, and I found, there's a little horror director, you may have heard of him. His name's Quentin Tarantino. And he gave a few opinions on this movie that kind of cracked me up about It Follows.
Tarantino did?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, I don't understand why Jay wouldn't just bang Paul. He was with it. He knew what was going on, and he knew it was going. I would have did it. Like, that would be his view, but it's like totally, yeah, I get that, man.
Well, she eventually does.
Oh, yeah. But
Which is just like, he's just sitting there like so fucking awkward.
our movies are going to be scarier, and I'm ready for that, but I like the suspense building in this. I love the seriously, not enough can be said about score. If I were to if we were to give sloppy horror awards, and and this would definitely get a score award. And not only because sometimes movies have good scores, but they're just good on their own. Like, you could just put them on, and sometimes the movie doesn't even play the full score, and you'd learn to love the whole thing. Say, for example, like Tubular Bells from The Exorcist. I mean, they give you like little 30-second clippets in the movie, but like that whole song is fucking awesome. Like, that's a great song. But this, it's made for the movie. The part we were referring to where she was in the duct tape to the wheelchair, if you go back and watch that scene with the music. So as this thing is chasing her and he's not moving her, it's starting to build, and then he runs to save her. And then you just see their faces, and you don't really see the thing behind them. And then you get their point of view, and they're running, and the music is building, and it builds to this thing, and it just hits this peaked hit tone that usually only comes when there's a murder, like when there's a finale. And then it just immediately cuts scenes to them in the car pulling out. And it was like, it is so beautifully done, because, it really does. It makes you fucking anxious, bro. You're like, oh, my God. Classic, like I said, very classic Hitchcock kind of just suspense building, start wide, bring it in, and then just don't show them everything, and then just keep that. Think of the Psycho theme.
They have to, because that's how you build fear. That's half the fear of this movie is the score. Because if they didn't have it, they'd be like this movie. I don't think the movie would be as good as it was. It would,
just like Halloween.
It captures the right feeling.
Halloween is the same way.
Yes.
Dun, dun. Like, it builds with, there's so many parts. It doesn't just come in, hammer in right away.
Yeah.
But it's so unsettling.
One of the most unsettling and funny parts at the same time. It's like they hit one after the other. It's when they go up to that beach house, and they're just sitting on the beach. Now, that's a distance away, so they thought they bought themselves some time. They sit there. They try to do, practice with the gun and everything. So they're all just sitting there on the beach, And then it just cuts to a shot of Jay in a lawn chair, and then you just see the thing come out of the woods and come in that to her slowly. And nobody else can see it because nobody else is, with it yet. So, and all of a sudden her hair just starts floating up, and then, it's grabbing her by the hair and nobody else can see it. And the Simbi dude, hits the thing with a lawn chair, and it just straight knocks him. He just
like X-Man smacks him.
He's just gone. And you just see him fly out of frame. It's just so goddamn funny.
That was some X-Men shit, dude. That's what that reminded me of. He just flew out of the way.
And I'll tell you another thing, because there's a part where she drives away after that kid across the street gets murdered. So she drives away in the woods or something, get away from it, because obviously it's right across the street, coming right to her. So she's at the beach, and then she walks down. She goes to the beach, and there's 3 dudes out on a boat.
You thought that she banged him.
I think she did. Because she takes off, she's got her bathing suit on there, and then she goes out, starts swimming out to it, and that's all they show you. So you insinuate that she banged
I thought she did too, but to kill 3 guys, you think that thing came and killed all 3 of them?
No, it's not going to kill all 3 of them. It's going to kill whoever she bangs first. Because once you bang somebody, it's passed on to them. You can bang somebody else, and it's not going to go to them, I don't think. I think it's just one pass and go. I think that's how it works. Mm-hmm. But if you're on a boat with your friends, and then some girl comes out of the woods, strips to her bathing suit, starts swimming towards your boat.
With a cast on?
Yeah. Don't go for that.
No.
It's going to make you think twice. That's the thing about it. That's like a male dream come true, just to be chilling on a boat and just have some girl just swim out to you and bang you on your boat.
That's that crazy girl touching bus shit.
Yeah,
She's
that's bullshit.
You know immediately. I don't know. I feel like
something's wrong here.
I already feel like I lost half my bank account, and I feel like I'm possessed. Something's going on. And they're like, man, it was that good, huh? Yeah, dude, there's been a ghost following me ever.
God damn.
I'm not calling her again. No, I can't. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah. Make you think twice.
Yep, this is what you make your teenage kids watch. Don't be banging, or shit'll start following you around.
Shit follows you.
Hey, I'm just the messenger.
Why does she keep swimming with a cast on? I don't think you're supposed to do that.
You are not supposed to do that.
Her arm was probably gross as shit.
It's infuriating. You're like,
as an adult watching it.
Yeah. It's like, you know how much that cost, kid?
Stop getting in the water with your fucking cast.
Put a bag on it. Keep your arm up.
I know. I remember I was in a cast. I had to hang my arm out the shower for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You can't get in there. That thing smells.
Yeah, and when they're about to cut it off, you feel like they're gonna hit you no matter what. You're like, they're gonna cut me open.
Oh, I know. Well, because they got that special saw that doesn't hit skin or whatever. So
right.
But dude, I swear, when I had a cast, being in that 6 weeks, I swear my left arm is a little bit hairier than my right arm now. I think this in that incubator just grew that hair, because I remember when they cut it off. They cut it off, dude. That left arm was so much hairier than my right arm. What the fuck happens? I swear.
Yep, I had to cast too. It gets itchy.
Oh, it does. I've had the sewing needles going in there, just doing the thing. Oh man.
Yeah, dude, that's a bitch.
I know.
They'll tell you scratch that part on your other arm. That's not gonna work.
It's not.
That doesn't itch.
No, it does not. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It does not work.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess you just throw it all aside when you got, when it's following you around.
Yeah, you kind of forget about everything else at that point.
If it were to really be the title, I think that would be very funny and appropriate for your life. You'd be getting your morning cup of coffee and you look out the kitchen window. Beep, beep, Mark. And you're like, fuck off, man. It's too early.
Oh, he would definitely come into a clown form for me.
Well, I'm saying if it was literally it follows.
Oh.
And it was just, and you just saw him everywhere, you're at a traffic light. What's wrong, Mark? Don't like being stuck in traffic? You're just I like it. I like this.
I would love that movie if it was Pennywise just following you.
Yeah, he doesn't hurt you or kill you. He just pops up at funny times, you're banging a chick, Looks like you're doing all the work there, Marquis. You're like, will you get out of here, you fucking weirdo? What? I'm not talking to you.
2 minutes is not a long time, Marky.
He's in there with a cigarette.
You finished before I'm halfway done. And fuck you, anybody listening. 2 minutes is a long time. Fuck you. Hold your breath. It's a long time. All right. Fuck all that shit. But enough with all the malarkey here. We need to push the button and go through the sloppy horror rating.
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah!
Habba Baloo and howdy do to you. This is the one and only, one of a kind, fantastic sloppy horror podcast rating system. Welcome to it. Now, your favorite horror movie companion, Christian Ramey, has developed a horror movie scale of a rating of a horror movie that rates a horror movie, not a horror movie in general. Now that you know that, it's a great system. Just because a low score doesn't mean it's a bad movie. A high score doesn't mean it's a great movie. It's the perfect system. It just depends on what kind of level of horror you are looking for. That's what I think we've developed in this rating. I think it works very well. Now,
the true level of horror.
how are we going to do this? We're going to do this in a series of 4 categories. 3 of the categories worth 3 points. Last category's worth 1 point for a total of
10 points altogether.
yes. I feel like anytime something equals 10 in your life, you are going to say 10 points altogether.
Anytime somebody says a total of, honestly.
It pops in my head too. 10 points altogether. So, let's go into the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
So they did a good job of like not taking any. They had good actors, but they didn't have anybody really you recognize, so it was a little more believable. But I really think this could do it too. Because it's serious enough where it's like it's a script. It's not a slasher script. It's not Sleepaway Camp. It's not like hokey to any degree. It's serious. It's serious, and I think the people portray what's going on pretty well. I thought the girl who I don't know the actress's name who played Jay, but Final Girl or whatever you want to call her, I thought that was good. I believed everybody. Not perfect, not a 3, but definitely a 2 for me. I think.
Yeah, I mean I didn't, throughout the movie, I didn't question, because, like, you know, when somebody does it, like, you can tell it's acting. Didn't seem like it seemed real, almost documentary-ish.
And all these people have been in things like that. Simpy dude, I guess he's on some Netflix show. Like, they're all in shit, you know? They're like
but they're not
famous.
They're like not famous actors, which is perfect. That's what makes the movie great, because I feel like if it was a 5-star actor, it wouldn't be as great as it was. You know, I mean, it doesn't add to the eeriness or anything like that. So I liked how they got all people you don't recognize in a movie. I like movies like that. So that is 2.5 out of 10 so far here on a Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into
just 2.
What'd I say?
2.5.
Did I say 2.5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You've been mixing your words up.
Shut up.
He's been drinking.
I'm sorry. That's
A
2
lot.
out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is kills. Thank you for the correction.
So there is only 2 kills in this movie. If we're being technical, we get Annie at the beginning, and then we get Greg gets murdered by his mom.
Yep.
It's a pretty low kill count, and it doesn't feel that way in the movie because it's pretty intense the whole time. But it's slow.
it is slow, but we have to give it a 0.5 because we don't give quarters, and we can't give it a 0 because there is a death on screen. There's a humping to death. Mm-hmm. That's the only one you really see, so it's a 0.5.
Yeah.
Not no more to say about that.
I would even go 1. I mean, that's pretty brutal imagery there, and you do get a pretty good 15, 20-second kill.
Nah, it's a 0.5.
0.5?
0.5.
All right.
Because the first kill, you just see the aftermath
That's true.
for only a split second.
That's true.
It sets the tone a little bit, but then you have another kill, which is just a hump
Yeah.
to death. It is intense, but it's the only one you see. It's 0.5.
Yeah, not enough.
So 2.5 now out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the third and final 3-point category here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear.
I think it has to be a 2. There's no other, like, it's not the scariest thing you've ever seen, but it's relevant with like, you could put this on and scare a room full of people with this movie. 100%. You're not going to have that with Sleepaway Camp. There are people who frighten really easy, and like a TV show or a commercial could scare them. Like, you know, those people that get afraid of the trailers. They're like, this one you could get some people. You put this on, they're like, what the fuck is it? Like, even dudes would be kind of like, if they've never seen this and you put this on, say some guy right now is in his apartment by himself and he puts this on at night, he might click a light on. You know, I would say it too. Just because it's not a lot of murder. The whole thing is suspense. Like, so I really think there's a fear element there. And I'm not saying me, but I do think this has a residual. I think this will sit with some people where they think about this. Like you said, you see people walking at you.
Yeah, it's that with me. But the thing about it is fear isn't just all scary. Like, what's the main component of fear? What is fear? You know what fear basically is? Not feeling comfortable.
Yeah, heart rate.
Nobody has ever been scared while they were comfortable. Mm-hmm. This movie makes you uncomfortable, and that's what generates fear.
Yeah, I'd say it's a solid 2.
Solid 2. We'll go with that. So that's 4.5 out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the final 1-point category for half a point each here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is rewatchability.
And I also will add too, we do like to mention, I like to, with the rewatchability, I don't just like to answer, like, from my perspective, if this, like, I really try to evaluate if this movie is one that people rewatch, and I live stream probably 5-6 days a week talking horror movies with strangers, and the amount of times people mention it follows. This is definitely a rewatchable movie. People love this flick. So yeah, 100% for me.
Yep, me too. Not only for just it's a good movie, also there's a ton of Easter eggs, ton of things you get, ton of things you don't see before, ton of things you gotta look to make it understand. There's more in it than just the actual story itself to watch. But
fellas, if you're looking for one to get a lady to kind of go in a little bit in your arms, she's not seen this one, you're on a couch.
It's a good one.
You'll be the hero of the night.
Yep, I'll do it.
She ain't walking nowhere without you for the rest of that fucking night.
Nope.
I promise.
Nope. She's going to be in Target like, do you see that person walking towards us? Yeah. Yes, I do. It's there.
Oh, I'm telling you, she's not going to the bathroom by herself. She's babe, here you are in there.
All right, so that is a total of 5.5 out of 10 for It Follows 2014.
Yeah.
Right here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast.
Solid score.
All up in your ass.
Solid score.
Solid score for a solid movie.
Who's going to win the wild card season? We don't know.
Oh, it's a competition?
They're going to get a wild card.
Well, this is episode 9, isn't it? So we have one more episode left of the wild card season.
Yep.
What's it going to be? I don't know.
Elmo Goes to Grouchland.
Is that a real movie?
It is.
I never heard of that.
Yep. I want to say 2000. That's when that one dropped. Let's see when Elmo Goes to Grouchland.
Elmo Goes to Grouchland.
Mm-hmm.
What is that about? Going to Grouchland? That's a stupid question. Don't answer that.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of Grouches there. 99. I was close.
Ah.
Family adventure. Not exactly horror, but, you know.
Hey, sometimes a family adventure could be horror. It's scary sometimes.
That's what he sounds like. Yeah, you know, puppets in general are a little weird.
Sure.
The ones from Mr. Rogers used to scare the shit out of me. I did not like that. Hey there, Undertaker. And you're like, dude, I don't like. It gave me all the weirdo vibes. Like when you're a kid, you know, when you feel like you're lost in a store, that's what I felt like every time I would see those little puppets.
I think Mr. Rogers is one of the few people on this earth that you cannot hate.
Oh, he was awesome. I love
that man.
I love Mr. Rogers, but I'm just saying the puppets were weird.
I just didn't like his little fuckhole village that he went to.
Yeah.
But I never watched Mr. Rogers, so it didn't really. I never did.
Yeah, super nice. You know, George A. Romero, legendary zombie director George A. Romero.
Yeah.
He actually directed a Mr. Rogers episode. Mr. Rogers Gets a Tonsillectomy. It was like one of Romero's first roles ever. So if you ever look for that footage out there, that's the same man who gave you Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, you know, all the classic zombie pictures.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Rogers Gets a Tonsillectomy. Yeah, he was a gentle man. A gentle man. He sure is a nice feller.
He was a nice neighbor.
Yeah, everybody needs a neighbor like that.
Sure.
I'll never be that neighbor. But
No, I'll never will be either, and I hope I never. I want my if I ever have neighbors, just do your thing, okay, and stay over there. I'll do my thing, and I'll stay over here.
Here's my phone number. If my house is on fire, call me.
Yeah, I don't feel like getting out of my car after a long day of work. Like, oh, hey, how's it going there? I don't feel like talking to you for 20 minutes.
Well, it's hot. We needed this rain, didn't we?
Stupid bullshit. I'm trying to go inside. I have to piss. I've been in traffic. I'm hungry. Leave me alone. You son of a fuck.
We noticed you were putting the tulips out there up front. And, oh, did you? Did you fucking notice? With your eyes?
With your eyes.
Oh, we sure needed this rain, didn't we? Yeah, it makes it easier to dig your body into the earth.
Do you have any idea what the next movie of the week, what the final episode of the Wildcard season is going to be? Do you have any idea? Have you even thought about it?
Nope, that's kind of the premise of Wildcard.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
Because some seasons, we pick them all before we even start, but this one has just been kind of, but it's been working.
This one's been, a little lefty-loosey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm rusty. It'll come back to me. And it'll all work out in the end. So, folks, we hope you've been enjoying this Wildcard season, but seriously, if you're looking for a bunch of shitload of more content, we have so many episodes on our Patreon. And we really, man, I just do not want to get in bed with any weird advertisers. I love the fact that we can do this shit ourselves with the love and support of all the boys and girls out there. So, if you get bored, you've got a little kindness in your heart, go check out patreon.com/sloppyhorror. Bunch more episodes of us.
Yep, there's about almost 40 episodes of quality ha-has on there for you. So, I mean, hey, that's
now, and
that's a lot.
You know what, though? But before we get out of here, we got to hit the button. I missed you, mister. Mr. Rollsock.
Tell him if they're old enough to watch that scary stuff. For the parents who give up.
Ooh, Mr. Ozark. This totally slipped my mind, because some movies, we don't even really fucking need to know what age you need to be to watch it, because some just really, anybody could watch it. But this one kind of falls in a weird parallel here. So, Ozark Mark, you got a bunch of kids at your house, all different ages. Which ones are allowed in the room that It Follows is on?
Well, it's probably the hardest one I've ever had to do, honestly, because this is very weird.
I feel like this is older teens.
This is weird. It's going to be that way. I'm just trying to think of which one it is, because obviously there's nudity, there's a wang from a distance in a bush. Just the pure unsettlingness of this movie. I think this will fuck up a young mind, because it settles with adult minds, and it will fuck up a young mind if they understand what's going on. Okay, something if you go too young, they're not gonna. That will fuck with them. If something's always following them, they're gonna get fucked. But
especially this generation with all the anxiety and
exactly. But the whole premise of the movie is sex. So now, obviously, the sex, it's just missionary scenes, full of sex scenes. It's not just missionary humping. That's all you get.
It might scare them from sex.
It might, but nobody's going to get scared from sex. It's too much fun. So, 14.
There you have it, folks.
14 is the age I recommend to show this to somebody, because if you go any younger than 14, you're going to have to deal with them being fucked up from this.
Yeah, they're sleeping with you.
Yeah, so a 14-year-old will get it, 14-year-old will just go masturbate after the movie and fall asleep.
Yep.
So, on both ends. So that's what I would recommend.
That's it.
There you go. There's some guidance for your race.
Boom.
There you go. There you go.
See, I like that. That's a fun little segment.
You're doing it on the wild card season, because I don't know if you're going to do it. So you're calling me off guard. Everything's all fucking discombobulated this season.
I wasn't thinking about it, but I was thinking of any last things we could throw in. But also, too, I could have like a 120-second almost rapid fire. I mean, where are we at? Well, how many minutes are we in?
You have like 2 minutes left.
Oh, perfect. It's just instinctual, I know. So, now that new movies and things are kind of coming out, I know not everybody's looking at every one of our TikToks. People got a life and shit, but I do review quite a few movies. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one, Burial, that's up on Shudder. I enjoyed that one. It was kind of a World War II horror movie. These Russian troops are moving Hitler's body, but this group called the Nazi Werewolves are trying to get him. That was fun. It was entertaining. I was really excited from this trailer I saw called Snow Falls. Watched it on Amazon Prime. Hot butt. Not good. Bad movie. Wouldn't recommend. So there's new shit dropping, new flicks coming out, and I definitely, Ozark and I don't usually like rate brand new movies because I kind of you can't say if a new movie's rewatchable. You got to give it some time. You got to let things linger a little bit. But I can at least give you a quick assessment of hey, I enjoyed it. I did see Megan with my younger ones. That was fun. That's a good segue movie, gateway to bring in younger people. So yeah, those are some of the horror flicks I've been checking out. I've been seeing. That's what's been going on. Kane Hodder's got a new one called Kill Her Goats coming out. That looks really fucking badass.
Killer Goats?
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's like a slasher. Also, She Came From the Woods looks like a really badass slasher coming out. So
okay,
got some stuff in the canon.
Good. Make sure you're following Sloppy Horror Podcast on the TikTok there for new movie recommendations, reviews. Christian Ramey, he does good videos, keep you entertained.
Yep.
I might pop in there every once in a while. I don't know. Mm-hmm. My TikTok, if you enjoy the show, I usually post just a funny clip of them. Comic relief on my TikTok if you feel like laughing. If you enjoy the funny parts of the show, I usually post a clip from each episode, just a short minute clip of funny stuff. So if you enjoyed that, make sure you follow me at Ozark Mark or at him at Sloppy Horror Podcast. You will figure it out. You will find us. And we love you so much.
I should have said this earlier to the YouTube video players, too. All you guys on here, if you're watching the video, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. I see you guys coming in with a lot of views. Throw a like down on this bitch, unless you don't like it. But
Throw some likes on that bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that being said, we will see you back, if you're a current listener, on the next episode next week on the final episode of the one and only Wildcard season.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Shit follows you.